Hey everybody, how you doing? So I forgot. I think I gotta do like this, right? Right. We'll get it said. Anyway, so as I continue to think about what is going on, it's becoming more and more clear to me that we are becoming a country in America of ostriches. Very scared ostriches, lethargic ostriches, that we tend to rather stick our heads in the sand. And excuse me because I'm going to blow my nose. So hopefully that doesn't offend anybody. I don't have COVID, just in case you're thinking about that. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's some people that think that COVID can come through the airways, right? But we continue to be a country of ostriches. Ostriches. Yep. Uh huh. Penelope's over here looking at me like, I'll show you Penelope. Come here. Come here. Come here. Good girl. This is Penelope. Now, if you've got a boo boo, you boo boo over there, okay? You're gonna climb on up? Okay. And so, no, Penelope, you're not an ostrich. No. Mm-mm. You're a conure. You're a yellow-sided conure, as a matter of fact. But at an accelerated rate, more and more people are just giving in on so many different levels. But each of these so many different levels actually are imperative levels. More and more people don't mind bending the knee to the government, whether that be your local government of the state you live in or the federal government in the country we reside in. I find it interesting that there are so many that have arrived in the United States of America that have not had to go through the proper channels of being healthy for the country that they have been so strategically placed in. But those that are naturally from the United States of America are being forced and coerced to receive medical care, the medical care that 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 most don't want, and for people that are want to get that medical care, that is totally fine. I care very less, very little, if you want to get it or you don't. I myself am choosing not to, for my reasons, just like for those who are getting it for their reasons. But it concerns me that for some, the reasons have become born out of a fear tactic. A fear tactic of those who wield the governmental powers. It's so dangerous because that's just one area that is being tested. when you go fishing, right? If you're a fisherman, hey Penelope, when you go fishing, you say you catch this, you got this big fish on the line, right? You don't just drag the fish in, you're gonna snap your line. Especially so you don't have just a story to tell your buddies about a fish that you almost caught but got away because your line snapped or whatever. One of my brothers, Tom, he has a lot of fish stories, but he does have some of those stories that are real. This dude caught in Alaska a big old king. I forgot how big it was. On this little old rod, and I think it was about 8 to 12 pound test. And you know how he caught that fish? By wearing it out. He worked the river, he worked the tide, he worked everything that he knew would tire that fish out. To the point where he could just lead the fish right into the net. Now, I didn't get any of that king salmon because I wasn't up in Alaska. But I saw pictures. And I've seen him catch other fish like it. All you have to do is wear the masses out before they either say, I give, or they are lulled into an exasperated comatose state. Now, we are not fish. I'm not a fish. Unlike a fish and so many other animals, there is just basic natural instinct. Fish goes for the bait, swims upstream. The bird, like Penelope, chews and gnaws on things because it helps her relieve tension and she likes to play. If I tell her no, she looks at me and she says, what? I'm not doing anything. And when I turn my head around, she'll go back to doing exactly what she was doing a moment ago. Just watch. She's smart. But she also goes by her instinct. As humans, we have instincts, but we also have logic. I don't think that our logic is matching up with our instincts, or at least challenging the instinct of self-preservation. People are tired, worn out. There's a part of me that gets that. I'm tired and worn out. But we should never be so tired and worn out that we become passive or so lethargic that we just give up. Just like a fish being drawn into a net. The net is death. Now, I'm not saying that people are being led to their deaths. What I am saying is there is a danger. And it's not all about the medical procedures. I think one of the things we have forgotten here in America, for some, is the strength in numbers. Now, there is a strength in numbers that we're seeing here in America. But the strength in numbers that we're currently seeing in America tend to lead only to a nefarious end. I'm just baffled. Just baffled about some of the policies being passed in some states, some laws that are being passed in some states, even here in California. One of the policies / laws that have been passed I'm not sure how well this is flying, but I think it's just very stupid. I think that it's very short sighted. I think that it's very nefarious and only a power play to make things look good. Is this. And fact check me. Go ahead. If I'm wrong, I want to be corrected. I want to be right in this. So I'm not just misrepresenting. However, the the overseer of this state has made it so that he will pay people, particularly gang members, I think it's $300, I think, a week, if they don't shoot anybody. Sounds pretty good, right? You don't go shoot nobody and we'll pay you. There's some dangerous loopholes in there and faults in that ideology. This state has a lot of people. This state is very expensive to live in. And most people are leaving this state because it is so expensive and hard to live in now. What happens when that money runs out? It's kind of like telling a child, if you do your homework, or every time you do your homework or you spell a word right in your homework, I'll pay you $20. Like, imagine a parent saying that, right? And then one day the kid comes to you after doing pretty well at spelling and doing their homework correctly. And you say, well, this week I had some issues and I have only $15. $15? But I worked really hard for $20. Okay, well, I make sure that you'll get that $20 next week. And the kid says, not only do I want the $20, but I also want the $5. So you owe me $25 for doing my work right. Okay, I'll try to make that happen. The next week comes up, and now you owe the kid $25. Something happens over the weekend, and now you only have $10. And it goes up again, and it goes up again. Catch my drift? This only has the potential for backfiring in a horrific way. That's it. It's no good is going to come out of this. All it does is places a loose bandage over a deep problem. And you better not take my buttons off. And ultimately, I think a big part of the issue is that this particular governor is richer than cow dung. There's a lot of cows in California. And so for this governor here in California, money is not an object for them. As a matter of fact, this governor, here, how about you go over here? This governor operates off of the greed of money and the power that money holds. At some point, this money will disappear. Maybe not for this governor, but surely for the residents here in California. This kind of ideology will only breed treachery because it doesn't deal with the base issue. These communities where these young men and women reside that are hoping to receive monetary funds for not shooting somebody, let alone killing them. How about this? How about we go back to the basics? How about if you're going to pay anybody anything or give any kind of tax cut or benefit, how about you do that for having mothers and fathers in the home? Because most of these men and women that are out here shooting up, sexing up, prostituting each other, and all the above, because that's what's happening, are primarily doing it because the influence of a solid father and mother in the home are not there. In the home is where we learn the basics of healthy community or unhealthy community. That's where we learn it. It's not the government's job, though it has unrightfully so become the government's job because of giving it to them blindly in some ways. It's not the government's job to take care of the home. It's not the government's job to take care of the mother and the father and the kids in the home. That was never supposed to be the job of the government. Never. But now that is what's happening. But I'm going to tell you what happened though. In the 1980s, I remember, I thought it was kind of the coolest thing because I didn't understand. There was a kid, and I had to look it up. There was this kid that decided he wanted to divorce his parents, right? And it was this whole thing, right? Maybe it was in the 90s. He wanted to divorce his parents. For whatever reason. He was probably a spoiled brat. You know, he didn't get a trophy in soccer, though he didn't play in the game. That's another part of this issue. Everybody gets a trophy, though they don't play the game. Get out of my face with that, man. If I don't play the game, I don't get a trophy. That's just called spoiled. And so, at any rate, he won the case. He was able to divorce his parents. Wherever he went, I don't know. And that really launched the next level of child empowerment in the home. Kids say stuff, man. And it's not that parents weren't doing things that were abusive or that they don't do things that are abusive, but not getting your way in the home is not abusive. Like, get with it, yo. That's just called spoiled. And a lot of parents are under the pressure of giving their kids every single thing in the world without them having to understand this is what it means to earn it, this is what it means to appreciate it, this is what it means to continue this idea. And so then the government starts moving in more. We came in to help the kids, that were being abused, whether that was getting beat, they were being starved or whatnot. Those are legitimate things, and those still are legitimate things. But at the point of parents saying, okay, we got it, most parents are like, hey, please, you have overstayed your welcome, government. The government said, no, we're here to stay. Now we're really going to monitor everything. And kids, if you feel like you're being abused, you come tell us. I'm going to tell you what my dad told me when I was a kid. Because I caught the wave. I was like, well, I'm just gonna call the police. Because, I would get whooped. And it wasn't always that I was getting beaten or mistreated. Some of those whoopings I deserved. Granted, I told my dad one day, I said, I'm going to call the police. And this is what he told me. All right, then. Call the police. I'm going to be whooping your ass until they get here. Whoop their ass when they get here. And then, when I get out, I'm going to whoop your ass again. Never call the police. Now, I'm not saying that that's what you should do as a parent, by any means. What I am saying is the government has overstepped for so long that we have become numb to the possibility of being effective and authentic parents in the home that love effectively, effectually, and authentically. These are our kids. Those are your kids. You're supposed to be there for them by any means necessary. Whatever you got to do. The government is not supposed to be parenting your kids. The government is not there to, should not be there to take you away from your kids. If you got some issues about parenting, you build up a community so that you have the support needed to be a healthy parent, to be a healthy household. And fathers, keep your ass in the home. Do whatever you gotta do. And if you don't want to be a father, then you keep your third leg in your pants until you're ready to be a father and get married up. Period. Ladies, keep them legs shut if you ain't ready to be a mom. I know, like, but I just want to go sex. I get it, man. Man, do I get it. I get it. I have never been married. I was dipping and slipping back in the day. Thankfully, I don't have any kids. But when it's time, I want to be married to my wife. And if I have kids, amen, hallelujah. But I want to have an effective home. I want to have a home that breeds not just perfect kids. You ain't gonna breed no perfect kids, man. But you have a community of care and love and expectation and solidarity in that community. That's what we want to do. It's not a lost cause. Families are not a lost cause. And don't you let the government make you think it is. By any means necessary, you kick the government out of your home. But in order to do so, you got to have the solid foundation. Moms, dads. If the dad ain't there for whatever reason, uncles, aunts, whoever you need to, that you're going to build a healthy trust with, do that. Take back the family. Take back the family. And don't fall for this trick about, the nuclear family is just so old and play out. No, it's not. That's like saying vegetables aren't good for you anymore. Better get on my face with that. Is the nuclear family perfect? It's not perfect. But guess what? These families that we're starting to make up now that are becoming so ambiguous in what it is and who it is a whole lot more nefarious and insidious than we want to say that it truly is. I see the outplay of this. It's not good. Families aren't ambiguous. God didn't create families to be ambiguous. Just because our Western culture likes to go ambiguous routes doesn't mean that the God that created us all is an ambiguous God. He created a system. It works. Our hearts, they're messy. So we're going to have to figure this out. We're really going to have to figure this out. But you let the government know they ain't welcome no more. If there's something that you need that the government has as a resource that helps you along, use it. But don't set up a cot in your garage so that they can stay the night. Take back your authority as a parent. Be the parent. And if you don't know how to be a good parent with essential things, let's start building communities that are going to help parents be the best that they can be to raise sons and daughters the best that they know how. And do better. You gotta do better. Man, whatever that looks like to start building that, let's figure that out. It can't be ambiguous. 1. It can't be fatherless. 2. It can't be motherless. 3. Period. And it can't be government-led. 4. Not everybody gets a trophy for just standing and watching the game. You got to get in the game. You get in the game and you get a trophy for winning, not just for half-assing it. I don't want to half-ass it. Let's do this. Have a good day.